Hey folks, this is Waylon, finally online. I've been working on other elephant stuff today, so I apologize for being kind of late. I'm back on my little phone. We tried a little iPad action last week, but it's an older iPad, so we need a new iPad, and then it can be HD, and that's pretty boring, so I'll stop talking about it. So if you guys have any questions, I'm all yours. I have a couple ideas for what I could talk about today, but I do these 5 times a week, and sometimes I feel like because it's not, I read your comments and I'll respond, but it's not, I can't see you, that maybe I'm not talking about what you'd like to hear about. So I'm happy to talk about anything about meditation, about elephant history, about how to write, about how to be a successful writer, about politics, about eco-fashion, healthy food, how to do that affordably, about yoga, hypocrisy, which I've already covered. If you're just tuning in, say where you're from. And if you have an incredible name like Jaren Ciamento Pagina, good afternoon. So first of all, if you're just tuning in, the best way to help this video, help people see this who may not otherwise see this, get it outside of the choir, is to give it a like or a love. So if you feel like clicking a crazy funny emoticon face, go nuts. That's actually super helpful because it gets through the Facebook algorithm then. Or you can just give it a good old fashioned like. Or you can give it an angry face if you're in a bad mood. All right, Michelle from New York, Wendy from High Desert, California, Leslie from Tustin. Hey, Leslie gets a like for being a regular. Casey, Atlanta, Georgia. Megan from Denver, not too far away. Krupa from an undisclosed location. Amber, Newport News. Carrie, Conifer. Debbie from Nova Scotia. My mom lives in Nova Scotia. There's Chelsea. Everyone could welcome Chelsea if you feel like it. She's the editor on duty. She's new, so be nice to her. Terlin needs help raising awareness for autistic kids going something in community. I'm not really understanding. Tell us more, Terlin, about the autistic children, and I'd love to hear more and how we can bring awareness to that. Michelle, I'm cracking you up. So Debbie loves Elephant Journal. If any of you love Elephant Journal, if you take 5 seconds right now, you can help us survive in this Facebook world. Go to elephantjournal.com/best, and I will be forever grateful. If you do that one thing, everyone who ever watches these videos, if you do that one thing, you get our free online magazine. We will be alive and we will thrive. Michelle from Utica. Chelsea from Elephant. Everyone say hey to Chelsea if you feel like it. She's brand new. She's a mom. She lives in Longmont. And she's here to help you out and leave comments and links. So first of all, I want to thank our mindful sponsor, Jade Yoga. So one thing, do any of you do yoga? If so, say something yoga-y or give it a like or a love. If you do yoga, 90% of us do yoga on literally a toxic yoga mat. We may not know it, but it's PVC, which is toxic in both its creation, and there's really no way to get rid of it. So the easiest thing that we can do for our health, for the planet's health, people tend to not get super passionate about the planet's health, but if you care about your health, your children's health, your pet's health, stop buying PVC. Get Jade Yoga. They're a mindful sponsor. I know the founder, good guy. They donate with every mat sold. They donate. They plant a tree. They donate to lots of different good causes. And Jade Yoga is not PVC. It's rubber. Rubber is like maple syrup, basically. It comes out of trees. It can be sustainably harvested. It's good stuff. So check out Jade. If you're not convinced or you want to know more, Chelsea, can you put my YouTube video with Jade in the comments where I interview Dean, the founder? And this is not a commercial. I'm interviewing him as a journalist, as an honest person who wants to know. And then we also have a deal. If anyone wants to support Jade, who is supporting us in this video so it can exist, you get free shipping. So you save around $10, which is going to be like, I don't know, at least 10%. So pretty good deal through Elephant. You're welcome. Please take advantage and support Jade. You have to type in elephant to get the free shipping deal. Alrighty, I'm going to go through comments. If any of you guys have questions or comments for me about mindfulness and everyday life, about really anything, you can ask a critical question. You can be mean. I was just at a wedding last night. You guys can ask me about the wedding. I'm super inspired I got to see two of my best friends join in holy matrimony. So that was pretty, the usual. We laughed, we cried, we danced badly. All right, Sarah, if a man is all about you one day over text messaging, then the next day he disappears, then the next day he is all about you again, does that mean he is interested or just stringing you along? Sarah, great question. So, neither. Number one, I would say we have all kinds of articles on ghosting. Chelsea, if you could share some of those. And you have to do it really fast, Chelsea. There's no time to mess around. So, tag Sarah. You can do @Sarah Jennifer Panza. Boom. So, I dated this wonderful, wonderful, amazing woman about 4 years ago. And honestly, so many of we men are so used to being played on text messages from women. So the same thing happens in both directions, or men with men, women with women, I'm sure. So about a week in, we're texting each other, and I would try and wait a day or two so I didn't seem overexcited or whatever. And about a week in, she said, Waylon, just text me. When you get a text from me, just text me back. And if you're busy and you can't text me for a couple hours, that's totally fine. But just text me whenever you can, as soon as you can. You don't have to be in a rush, but don't do this weird waiting thing. Just text me. And I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And then we dated and had a great time. Because this was a lady who was saying, I don't want to play games. Don't play games. So, may you not play games. So, basically, the first thing I would do is just text him and say, hey, I'm interested in you, but I'm not going to be interested in you in a week if you're kind of there and not there. Just show up fully. If you are in a meeting or whatever and you can't text me, that's fine. Just show up and stop. If you're playing games, you don't need to with me. I'm not a game player. I wrote about this a lot in my book, Things I Would Like to Do With You. There's a whole chapter about game playing in there, and basically, like, if you're looking for love, if you're looking for sex, play all the games you want, I guess. But if you're looking for love, that's genuine connection. So you don't want to play, these are not fun games. These are kind of manipulative, weird games that come out of fear. So if you want to play manipulative games out of fear and you're expecting that somehow will lead you to love, you're sorely mistaken, folks. So just stop playing those kind of games. Just show up. And like, there's a girl I like right now, and I'm just going to ask her out. And I'm just waiting until I have a cool idea for what to do, which I haven't had yet. I don't need a super creative idea, just something where I know she'll be comfortable, I'll be comfortable, we can get to know each other. And that's it. It's that simple. And then if she replies, boom. If she doesn't, whatever. There's some level of, like, you have to let go. It's kind of like surfing. You jump on the wave, you fall off. You paddle back out, you jump on the wave. And if you do it enough times, you just realize that you have to kind of relax, and you also have to just be super present with dating. And then, letting go is half of dating, right? So, Sarah, good luck. Let's all give Sarah some likes and love. Again, the likes and love stuff may sound silly, and it is, but it also helps these videos get through the mean old algorithm that likes to crush everything good that we share, and it helps it get out to beyond the choir. And that is a good cause. All right. I'm going to skip toward another comment, if there are any. Olympia, Washington. Rachel Perry is, good morning, Waylon, from Portland, Oregon. I'm wondering what book you would recommend for someone just getting into Buddhism. And I look great in pink. Thank you. Pink is warm and nice. When I was a little kid, pink was my favorite color. I think in kindergarten, and my teacher said this was 1979, I guess, and my teacher said you're not allowed to like pink because you're a boy. So then I picked orange because I thought it was kind of, like sunsets are pink and orange, and I think I like sunsets. I think that was my 5-year-old logic. Alrighty. Great books getting into Buddhism. One word. Pema Chodron. Pema Chodron. That's one word. So actually I wrote a blog. I wrote a blog for this. Chelsea, if you can put it in, 10 great Buddhist books for beginners, or classic Buddhist books for beginners. Pema, Trungpa Rinpoche, Suzuki Roshi. These are a few of my favorite things, but there's other recommendations in there. Basically, you don't need to become Buddhist. Buddhists are nice in that they generally don't care about converting anyone, but you can just kind of check out the meditation and apply that to your life and your love and your own religion or your non-theism. And if you want to become Buddhist, God bless, but no need. But yeah, check out those books. They're super helpful. I was talking about those at the wedding at the dinner party last night. And I'm a big Pema fan. Any Pema fans? Fernanda, being vegan is directly related with being spiritual? Question mark. What do I think? Yeah, I would agree. I think from the point of view of doing no harm, which is like the vow you take as a doctor, if we can do as little harm and as much good as possible, that's a spiritual way of being, for sure. I don't think being an aggressive vegan or an aggressive activist or an aggressive feminist or an aggressive tea partier or an aggressive anything is helpful. In Buddhism, we say aggression creates aggression. It's just a cycle. So if I objectify you and I say you're a Trump supporter and I hate Trump supporters, then I'm not seeing who you are. And I could just take away my projection and see who you are and then communicate genuinely. And then maybe we could be friends. We could play pool. We could dance in the park together. We could have a great time. So eating meat, not eating meat doesn't define you. That said, factory farming is as evil as anything in the modern day world. It's basically sanctified culture, torture by our culture that just says, I'd like to have torture for lunch. It's not cool. So if you're going to eat meat, try and get grass-fed, try and get local, try and get small farms, try and make sure you know. It's kind of like that Portlandia episode, which Chelsea could put in the comments about, where the couple was like, where does the chicken come from? Was he happy? Did he have friends? Did he have a nice education? So it's healthy always to make fun of this stuff. If you're vegan, please make fun of yourself and don't be aggressive. But yeah, I do think not being a jerk is good. Not being a jerk to our animal friends as well, unless we really need to somehow. All right, this is Sid in Tucson, coping with post-cancer chronic pain. Insight. Wow, you get right to the point. Well, Sid, first of all, huge love and congratulations, and big waves of cooling relief to you from all of us. If we can all send Sid in Tucson congratulations for being post-cancer and for dealing with the very present pain that you have. So chronic pain is incredibly, you know far more about it than I do. But all of us have some experience of claustrophobic pain, and there's some level of it's like having a migraine headache. You just can't get away from the difficult sensation in your own body. So first of all, learning how to relate to that pain emotionally, because there's the pain, but then there's also our reaction to pain. And that's in Buddhism, there's the three kinds of pain. There's the pain of pain, the pain itself. There's the suffering of pain, our reaction to the pain, and then there's some other kind of pain, the pain of forgetting what the third kind of pain is. But you can study that. It's on Elephant Journal, 3 kinds of pain. Good luck finding that, Chelsea. Or you can just Google it generally. But basically, that quote, which isn't Buddhist, but it's great, super accessible, is life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. So if you can, if you're stuck with that pain, you're probably doing everything, and your doctors are doing everything that is recommended already. In terms of how to deal with it, I would recommend a meditation practice like Tonglen, which is directly relating to pain, and then kind of letting go into relief and kindness, and it kind of helps us let go of our attachment to pleasure and our fear of pain. So Tonglen, Chelsea, if you can put that in the comments for Sid, and big love to Dennis and Sid in Tucson. I was just at the wedding with a couple people from Tucson, which seems like a super cool city. I've only been there a few times. My grandparents used to live down there. All right, Josie in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Just got the book, my book, I assume, this weekend, and spent the weekend reading it. You love it. Oh, thank you. It's always a relief to hear. It's a very kind of vulnerable, weird thing to write a book and have people read it. Doctor's office is calling me. Sorry about that. Krupa, if you want to start meditation, we have a ton of blogs on that on Elephant. How to begin meditation. The best, Chelsea, you could put a couple beginners meditation blogs in there, but the best I would recommend is Trungpa Daten letter. And Lindsay or anyone, if you can help Chelsea with some of these links if she needs it. But the Trungpa Daten letter, Chogyam Trungpa wrote this letter for a Daten, which is a month-long meditation period. I've done 3 of them, not 6 of them, just 3 of them. And they're wonderful and actually really kind of fun in a weird way. The first one was super boring and painful because I was 17 and I just should have been off playing basketball, but it was still a good experience to be present with my own mind and the hot boredom of wanting to get away and entertain myself, which is how most of us are our entire lives. So read that Daten letter. Ev Wong. Been loving Elephant Journal and have already subscribed. Thank you so much. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, is that what you mean? Or did you subscribe to pay like as a subscriber? If you subscribe to our online magazine, the newsletter, that is the best way to keep Elephant Journal alive. elephantjournal.com/best. And it's free. So thank you, Chelsea in Vancouver. Terralyn. Ev, Redford is not here right now. He's hanging out with Ashley, probably at her house or at the Elephant office, the Elephant HQ in Boulder. So good eye. Christy has a jade mat and loves it. Yeah, please, the foundation of our yoga practice should not be toxic, both spiritually, environmentally, and maybe in some other way that I can't think of. Alrighty. We can agree to disagree agreeably. Yeah, I just wrote about that on our facebook.com/elephant journal page. Every time we post anything political, half of our readers say, F you, Elephant, we hate you, we're out. And we always say, wow, if you're looking for a yes man club, we're not it. We're a community, and you can dialogue and you can argue and you can agree all you want, but just do it respectfully. That's the kind of community I want to belong to, one that will give me access to new ideas and to people who may not be in my little bubble of agreement. I've mentioned before, but there's a 2-volume set of books on Elvis Presley, who my father loved, and he gave me this 2-volume set. It's The Rise and Fall of Elvis Presley, and the first one is The Rise, his incredible talent, working with his mom as basically his manager. And then his mom died, and then the second volume begins. And when his mom died, he no longer had anyone around him who could say no or be critical. We see this, I think, honestly, with Trump's campaign. He surrounds himself with people who agree with him. Sycophantic people, and it's actually in our own lives, and we don't need to get political, all respect, but we need to surround ourselves with friends who care enough about us to give us honest feedback in a loving way. So if someone says, Waylon, you're pretty good at these videos, but honestly talk way too loudly, or you need to prepare more, or you need to comb your hair, you look stupid, or your advice is horrible, and they can be specific in a constructive way, then I can learn and I can be better at this and I can be more helpful to you guys and gals, and then everyone wins. So criticism is a super helpful thing. I did a video on this kind of notion called the Big No. So Chelsea, maybe you could put the Big No video into the blogs. Being able to say no is just as powerful and helpful in this life as yes. They serve different purposes, and no can be a yes in a way. You can be saying no to things that are not not healthy. Alrighty. Chelsea, please say what the YouTube links you're putting in. Don't just put in the YouTube link, because I can't see the link at all. All I can see is the code, and no one's going to click that. So if you can re-put the YouTube link in and say what it is, unless maybe you guys are seeing a different display than I am and you're seeing the image come up, in which case I'm wrong and ignore me. Kelly, every post of yours is so poignant and so spot on. Thank you for your insight and for sharing it. Thank you for your sweet comment. Krupa, letting go, please talk about that. Letting go of what? Give me a little more. Then I can be a little more specific and helpful. Letting go of love, letting go of childhood issues, letting go of a burrito. That might be the most difficult of all. Debbie, thank you. Love your quotes. True inspiration for difficult times. Krupa, you did say more. Why is it so hard to let go? Yeah, give me a little more. Letting go of what? Terry, why do you feel there's a mindset within the human condition that we want what we don't have until we have it, then turn around and generally don't want it anymore? That's a great point. So I don't have a car. I haven't had a car for a while, 10 years, 9 years. And I always think I want a car. And then once in a while I get close to getting a car, and then I say, do I want to go to missions? Do I want to go get insurance? Do I want to wait in the registration office? Do I want to be in traffic? Do I want to have to circle around a block trying to park? Do I want to, especially traffic, I turn into a monster. I'm a, pretty busy, stressed out guy. And when I bike around town, I see the sun and I see the sky and I see leaves and people are waving at me because they can see you, and I'm exercising and breathing, and the commute is the best part of my day. But then when I get in a car, there's fun aspects to it, like listening to a bad song or a great song and singing out loud. But mostly it's just not fun to drive. You don't get to actually drive very fast, which is also kind of fun. You just are in traffic usually, and you're stopping and blah, 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 and you're polluting the earth, and nothing's good about it. So my point is, I think I want a car, but then if I get a car, even let's say if I get a Tesla $150,000 SUV, the coolest car I could possibly want, and it's all solar powered in my backyard, within a week I'd get back on my bike, and I'd be happier on my bike. And where do I want to drive other than go to the mountains and go snowshoeing, or go to the hot springs, or maybe drive out to Longmont to a friend's dinner party? There's maybe 3 reasons I want to leave Boulder, where I can bike pretty much anywhere, a month. And I'm not trying to lecture any of you on cars or bikes. I know if you have children, it's a different situation. If you commute, it's a different situation. But my point is simply that if you gave me the nicest car in America right now, which I think I want probably, within a month I'd probably take it for granted, and it would just be another accumulation. So, as they say, Terry, things don't make us happy. Having your basic situation, your bills, a roof over your head, transportation, decent food, real food, these things make us happy. But beyond that, things don't generally make us happy. Experiences do. Friendships do. They did a study of all the people in the world who lived the longest, who lived to 100. There's these islands in these various areas where everyone lives to 100, 90, 105. And they characterized like why do they live so long, and they made up a list based on their behavior, and one of them was real food, but one of them was incredible socialization. They were in community almost all the time. So they're gardening, they're playing chess, they're playing cards, they're together. There's community. Isolation can kill. Nothing is wrong with loneliness. Nothing is wrong with being alone. Those are beautiful things, and I'm all about it. But then reconnecting with community, like going to farmer's market. I always call farmer's market here in Boulder free therapy, because I can be as self-important and as self-depressed as I want. Wrapped up in my problems. I'm burned out. It's Saturday morning, and I just want to like watch a rom-com or some dumb movie and not leave, and I just want to like be in the fetal position all day basically, and there's very little joy in my mind and heart. But then if I go to farmer's market, there's sunshine, there's children, there's dogs, there's real food, there's tons of friends and random friends, and within 10 minutes or 5 minutes or an hour, I'm human again. I'm like a flower that just got some sun on it, and I just go, mwah. Anyway, I don't know if this is interesting or not. Let me know. I can talk about other things. A lot of people saying you love my quotes. Thank you. So we share our quotes on Instagram.com/elephantjournal. Terlin, people are stating that autistic children like mine should stay home or be removed from areas if their neurological behavior upsets others. Wow. That seems pretty selfish of people. I grew up with an autistic friend, and I mean, it was intense. I mean, his experience of life was pretty intense, and it was intense to be around him. But everyone loved him, and everyone, people volunteered a lot of time to be with him. And, I mean, it's a difficult path. It's a difficult experience. But there was certainly no feeling of, like, wanting to shut him away. And I don't think that would have been good for him. He did need a good environment, a good kind of container, a good container meaning like community, like it takes a village kind of thing. So Terlin, big love to you and your autistic child. And yeah, all kinds of people are jerks, I talk a lot about gated community spirituality, which is what I call positivity. Positivity is good to be positive. It's good to be forward-looking. It's good to be optimistic. It's good to be open-hearted and full-throated about life. But positivity is often like, if anything bad happens, pretend it's not there and just smile, and law of attraction, good things onto yourself. Like, I want a nice car, and I want more money, and I want love, and then everything will be okay, right? It's this sort of like fake cocaine smile. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. I'm so empty inside. I'm crying. And then the sad thing that happens is you stop having a sense of humor about the hard things in life. You stop having a sense of humor about yourself, and you push away anything bad, which could be the elderly, could be the homeless, could be the sick, could be the developmentally challenged or autistic. We push away anything we are uncomfortable with. I mean, between you and me, my next door neighbors, who are these like pretty, privileged white college girls, the other day they text me and they're like, there's some scary homeless man walking through our alley. Come out and like save us. And man, it was just some homeless guy walking around who happened to be African American, and maybe he was being weird or sketchy. I didn't see that. But, news at 11, like, there's a lot of people who aren't financially fortunate, who didn't grow up in good family situations, who are having a tough time with life, and maybe they don't have a home to go home to at night. I mean, imagine if you didn't have a roof over your head. So, anyway, we tend to shut out pain and cling to pleasure, and then we ruin the pleasure, and we just experience more pain. You got to face the pain. It's kind of like Billie Jean. I'm not going to sing Michael Jackson, but if you look at the man in the mirror and you face your pain. We were dancing badly to Billie Jean last night at the Actually, some of us were doing pretty well at the wedding. It's pretty fun. All right. Doop, 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 doop. Ali Dubbin. Geronimo. Melanie, if you are happy with yourself and love yourself, you attract people with good energy who are similar to yours. That's the people you want in your life. If you are negative, you attract that. Love yourself. Yeah, I totally disagree with most of that comment, but I agree with the last two words. Negative people. I mean, we're all negative people sometimes. We have a bad day, we have a good day. If you're saying like sketchy, dishonest, mean people, maybe that's true, but I don't just want good people in my life. I want to be open and friendly toward all. I want to help all of us as a society become healthier and happier and to love ourselves. So cheers to the love yourself notion, but and cheers to being happy with yourself and loving yourself. But I'm not trying to attract people with good energy and keep people with bad energy away. I think that's an incredibly fearful, selfish way to live. I'm not saying you're fearful or selfish. I'm just saying that positivity thing it's too constricting. We can actually have a sense of humor about our lives. And, you know, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's a kind of humorful reminder of how difficult lives are. We're just bumbling around, messing up. We're going to run into jerks. And if we can relate to jerks with a sense of kindness and humor and empathy instead of trying to get them away, then we might realize that we're being the jerk and that the jerk is actually just another human being having maybe a hard day. So let's not draw lines around ourselves. Amy, veganism is a multi-purpose lifestyle helping combat world hunger, cruelty to animals, and environmental degradation. That is true, Amy. I agree, and I love what you said. It's such a powerful thing to do. That said, so many vegans are eating out of plastic. So many vegans are eating soy or GMO crops that are monoculture crops that are wiping out rainforests. So many vegans are eating stuff with palm oil, which is killing the orangutans and the rhinos and the tigers. So vegans, please remember organic matters, local matters. It's not about any one sliver of the mindful life. That's why the Elephant Journal is about all aspects of the mindful life, including having a sense of humor about how ridiculous this whole thing is. But is it more ridiculous than being selfish? Hopefully not. Cilia from South Africa, hey to you. Claudie, how to manage a panic attack when we are in the presence of our ex-love? I personally would run away. Whenever I met him physically, it's automatic and very powerful as a reaction and also painful. So that's an incredibly powerful question. So to be serious, from a Buddhist point of view, if you can forget about the ex, this is really about you. This is about how do you sit in a grounded or stand in a grounded, powerful way in a difficult moment, a painful moment, a hot moment, like being in a sauna for too long. How do you take a seat, a dignified, open seat in the midst of difficulty? That is a profound question. And honestly, I think just your question is an openness and a curiosity and a wisdom. So cheers to you. Let's give Claudie some love. The main thing I would advise is Tonglen. Our technique in any difficult situation is to close down. We like hold our breath and we clench and we kind of go into like T-Rex mode. That's my T-Rex imitation. We close up and we just try and stay safe, like a turtle. I'm really not getting any likes for my imitations or anything. Maybe it's a slow Monday. All right. So Tonglen. Tonglen is how you can breathe in difficulty and breathe out calm relief. It's incredibly powerful to open up and to become a warrior. Trungpa Rinpoche talks about being a peaceful, kind warrior. So read Shambhala. It's in that link, the best Buddhist books that hopefully Chelsea put in. And the other thing I would say is you can do a meditation practice. Wow, the wind is going nuts. It's really beautiful. All the leaves are flying off the trees right now. We're losing all of our beautiful golden leaves. All right. Yeah, so, I had a really difficult relationship and I still see her around and I kind of avoid her. I don't freak out. I don't get super emotional, but I do kind of avoid her. So on a practical level about him, maybe you want to avoid him and you can reconnect with him if you feel like you can have a healthy relationship in the future. But for now, maybe you just need some distance. I hope that's at all helpful. I was saying before the wind went crazy, there's a meditation practice for how to take a grounded, powerful, open, fearless seat in the midst of the difficulty of your life. And we can do that practice at the end here. We'll do a 2-minute meditation practice at the end. Melanie King, thank you. And I love when you catch me live. I don't know anything about Abraham Hicks. I'm sorry. But maybe there's something on Elephant about it. Pema Rocks in her book Places That Scare You is such a great book to read, especially after a breakup. Yeah, Pema Chodron is kind of the Epsom salts of spirituality. If you're having a stressed out, heartbreaking time, just jump in a bath with Epsom salts, read your Pema Chodron, and, problem solved, basically. That's my solution to everything. Yeah, Portlandia nerd wasn't what I was referring to. I was referring to the Portlandia chicken thing, but thank you. Roxanne, morning. I grew up having to care and take care of myself a lot and didn't grow up in a love-filled home. Now I found a man who unconditionally loves me and takes care of me. I'm hoping there's no but. But I can't seem to fully open myself to his love, maybe out of fear of losing it or maybe because I don't know how to accept it. Well, basically the question is, so Roxanne, thank you for your beautiful question. Basically the question is, do you love him? Do you love him? Are you attracted to him? Do you want to be with him? If you do, then he will, I'm sure, be patient. It sounds like he'll be patient and unconditional in his love and understanding that you're coming from a difficult background, a difficult history. On some level, you can let go of that history or background, though, not saying that it's easy to do so, just saying that it's not you. It doesn't define you. You are you. You are your present moment. You are nothing. That's sort of a Buddhist notion that we are just here for a while. We're just part of the universe. So we're not nothing, but we're also not this solid, fixed being. So you can just kind of just show up, and that's a practice. It's not easy, but it's easier than being stuck in some sort of limited, self-defined way. So it sounds like you're in a great situation, and congrats to you that you've found some gentleman that is so beautifully loving. But love is not a guilt trip, so don't guilt trip yourself that you're having difficulty feeling that love and returning it. Just be patient with yourself. And again, I guess my advice for everything is Tonglen. Read that blog on Tonglen and practice that every day. And it'll help kind of flush out any stuckness that you have about love or about loneliness or lack of love. Wow, it was wind. Qasim Ali Qureshi, welcome. What do I think about Muslims, specifically about Pakistani Muslims? Please let me know, sir. Thank you for your question. We have lots of good blogs on Muslims and Islam on Elephant Journal, and yoga and Islam, and all kinds of different angles. So Chelsea, maybe you can share a couple, like 10 things you didn't know about Islam or yoga, and there's an article written by a Muslim yogini. Anyway, there's a ton of articles, and Chelsea, hopefully you can read, share a couple, and Qasim, you could read those, so you can understand that 99% of Americans, we're a very diverse country. We're based on wave after wave of immigrants. The only Americans are the Native Americans, really, and the buffalo, and so we're a diverse nation of immigrants, basically, and fundamental to our democracy is that that diversity needs to all work together. We need to all realize we're part of a commonwealth. We're part of a vision of a constantly improving society where equality is number one. So first of all, don't believe the media hype that there are hateful Americans, there are bigoted Americans, but a lot of bigoted Americans aren't hateful. They just grew up being bigoted. They were taught to be bigoted, and maybe they're going to grow up and grow out of that. And so I don't know much about Pakistani Muslims, but I would say overall that anyone who loves peace and loves their family and supports equal rights for women and men and education for children is good by me. So God bless, whatever your religion or non-religion is, we're all equal. And even if we disagree on important issues, we can respect each other in that disagreement, and we can dialogue. So if you're a Trump fan, if you're a Hillary fan, if you're a Muslim, if you're a whatever your thing is, we need to remember how to, as someone reminded this quote I shared this morning, we need to be able to agree to disagree agreeably. You can say, well, I feel this way, and I can say, well, thank you, I have to disagree, I feel this way. Why do you feel that way? And we can have a difficult but important discussion. And those difficult but important discussions require one thing, which is bravery. We need to be brave to feel uncomfortable. And again, guess what helps with that tension in your heart, in your lungs? Tonglen. Tonglen is just a very basic meditation practice for working with your emotions. So please check out that blog. And Kasim, thank you so much for your question. And big love and big apologies on behalf of the loud, bigoted Americans to the rest of the world, including Muslim Americans. Thank you to Dennis and Sid. Tanya, can you touch on awakening my soul and how people can learn to do that? So I don't know about the soul thing, but the way we wake up, Buddha means awakened one. The way we wake up is simply to become present, to stop buying into the storylines of our ego that is saying, what about me? What about me? What about me? Am I getting what I want? We're always scheming, and we're always thinking about what just happened and longing for things we don't have in the future, whether it's lunch or a nice car or a hot date, So if we can just come back from that and just be present, it's pretty simple stuff. That's what meditation in the Buddhist tradition is. I don't know what more I could say. I'm sure I could say a lot more. Val, is it possible to find my book in Europe? You can get my book in Europe just via our website, elephantjournal.com/books. If you can put that link in, Chelsea, that would be great. elephantjournal.com/books, and we will ship it to you today. Today only. Things I would like to do with you. $35, which is kind of a lot, but that's because it's eco and plastic free and printed locally, and it's actually, 99% of books now are plastic coated. They will never degrade. They will never biodegrade. That's not good. And also you're touching kind of vaguely toxic chemical crap on the cover of these magazines and books. Sorry to pick on Yoga Journal. All right. Woo-wee. It's windy. Great comment from Kelsey about being a survivor of chronic pain. Yeah, look at an anti-inflammatory diet. You're being much more practical than me. So we have a lot of articles about inflammatory diets, anti-inflammatory diets. Chelsea, if you can put one of those in, there's some amazing ones that are super powerful. Nice compliment from Ev Wong. Chelsea is a machine. Go girl. Thanks for all the awesome links. Thank you for thanking Chelsea. So when those of you who subscribe and pay $1 a month, that goes to support our editors, people like Chelsea, to work for you and to edit articles for you and to pay our best consistent writers. Ev Wong subscribe to pay plus the newsletter. Ev, you're my hero of the day. Jill, you're having a hard time breaking up with your yoga mat. Well, it might be nice and grippy and thick, and you might like how what it looks like. But if it's toxic, and you're getting that on your hands, and you're sweating, and you're laying on a toxic surface, and then eventually you're going to throw it away or do something with it, and it'll become toxic again when it falls apart. You know, just remember, toxic is not toxic in yoga. Those two words shouldn't be hanging out right together, rubbing on each other. Get a jade mat or a similar eco mat, and if you get jade, you got free shipping from Elephant for now in that link. Josie, any tips on helping kids deal with anxiety? Yeah, so the number one thing I would say is exercise. It's similar to dogs. So, you know, my dog is crazy and nuts and hyper, and he's yelping, and he's just talking all the time because he's a nutty hound dog who's super social. And then I'll take him on a hike, or he gets to play with some dogs, or he goes to a party or a cafe and he gets to hang out with people. And he's the most relaxed, chill dog you've ever seen. He's like, what's up? My name is Redford, and I'm going to take a nap in the middle of the dance floor. He does that all the time. So, similar with children is often our speediness wears off on our children, right? We're rushing them from activity to activity that may be well-intentioned. We fill the gaps in our lives. We're at a stoplight, we get on the phone. We're always multitasking. So probably less screen time and more exercise. Get them tired. There's this place in Boulder called ABC Kids, and if I ever have children, I'm going to subscribe or join their thing right away, because ABC Kids, or the spot climbing gym where I climb, just wipes out children. They're climbing, they're hanging out, and they're wiped out. By the time they leave, they're like, they're like Redford, just wanting to nap. So, and then the other thing I would recommend, we have a bunch of blogs on children and anxiety. Chelsea, if you can put one in. For Josie, it's a great question. We have blogs on children and ADHD, and we have blogs on children and multitasking. Maybe search some of that stuff, Chelsea, and share that for Josie and tag her. And then the other thing I would say is the way we help children deal with anxiety is learning how to deal with it ourselves. So if we're caught up in busyness, speediness, filling the gap with our phones, we're the problem. And so there's a wonderful blog, probably my favorite blog on Elephant ever, is Busyness is Laziness. It's a profound blog by Buddhist teacher Reggie Ray, who I got to grow up with. And if you can share that, Chelsea, busyness is laziness. If every adult who's watching this, with probably 20,000 people are watching this, if every adult could read that, that would make for a slightly less speedy, aggressive, anxiety-ridden world. Busyness is laziness. Thank you, Jessica. Very sweet compliment. Lana, I started following you on Facebook a while ago. Always appreciate the uplifting messages, so thank you so much for touching lives. Would love to read the book you wrote. If you were to sum it up in one sentence, what would that sentence be? I want to know what love is. That's what it would be. It's basically an exploration of what kind of love would I want to commit to in 2016. I want a love that isn't just infatuation and hormones and attraction and passion, although that's all fun. I want a love that could last through ups and downs, through rights and lefts, through changes. What is a love that can allow room for change, for independence, for creativity, for humor, for heartbreak? What is a love that is flexible like bamboo instead of rigid? What is a love that I possibly could want to commit to for the rest of my life without feeling claustrophobic? So that is answered by the Buddhist notion of love. The Buddhist notion of love is a partnership. It's not trying to meld into one flame or one flesh. It's a partnership that, like a dance, allows some room and flexibility and humor and movement. You don't have to be a good dancer in love. You just have to have a sense of humor and fun about yourself. I was at this wedding last night, and I have to give such a huge compliment to the wedding, because it seemed like there were only a couple people who really liked to dance. Dancing, most of the people were just out there kind of having fun and just being dorky and being willing to have fun. And I think a lot of that was modeled by Megan and Johnny, the couple who got married. They, they they just had fun. They were just willing to be foolish, and I found that really inspiring. Righty, thank you for your question, Lana. And that book I'm talking about is elephantjournal.com/books if you want to check out my book, which is called Things I Would Like to Do With You, and it's about love. Oh, are people commenting about my hair? I missed that. I have not showered yet today, but I'm about to. But I think my hair is doing pretty well for, I could do the Donald Trump, which would be like, I don't quite know how it works, but it's a big swirl. All right. Michelle, can you share your thoughts, advice on self-doubt, anxiety, and relationships? How do we show genuine love without expecting anything in return? Pride seems to get in the way when it comes to dating. Much love for Elephant Journal subscriber over here. Michelle, thank you. So you are the kind of person who keeps Elephant alive and thriving. We're at about 7.4 million readers, and we've grown 400,000 readers in just the last 4 days. So thank you so much for reading. When you read, you keep mindful, independent media alive. And mindful, independent media is as endangered as our namesake, the elephant. So if you want to support Elephant, elephantjournal.com/best. Get it. It's free. All right. So, self-doubt and anxiety in relationships. I mean, that's natural. You're trying to be charming. You're trying to be pretty. You're trying to be handsome. You're trying to connect, impress someone. You're trying to evaluate them. You're wondering whether you should let them into your life and into your bed and into your heart. And so it's a really vulnerable kind of experience, both for men and women. And we're also not empowered culturally necessarily to talk about that. On our first couple dates, we're not talking about how we feel all these questions. We're just trying to be impressive and cool. So there's a lot of game playing, and it's a very silly process, but it can be really fun too. So yeah, pride is a big way. We're trying to peacock around and be impressive. Look at my feathers. What's up? So how do we show genuine love without expecting anything in return? I love that question. It sounds difficult, but it's actually, think of something that you give that you really don't care what you get back because the giving is so pleasurable and fun. Say like volunteering with children, being a big brother or a big sister to children. Do you really care if you get an award or if they thank you or whatever? If you do, maybe go do something else. Like just seeing the love of the children and the happiness of the children is so inspiring. I got to grow up volunteering with children most of my life, and I missed that because it's honestly the funnest thing ever. So, that's similar to love. If we can give love, and it's just joyful to give love, and if they happen to give love, it's just sort of like both parties have to be engaged in mutual love without expectation. So that is rare, and if you find that you have expectations and disappointments, that is also okay. Don't guilt trip yourself about that. It's totally okay to expect things and be disappointed and to have difficult emotions in love. That's totally natural. And when that happens, just like in meditation practice, you just see all those thoughts and those fears of the love and the disappointment and the expectation and the worrying and the anxiety and the vulnerability. You just see them fully. And the opposite of positivity, you're willing to see and recognize what's happening instead of pushing it away and trying to get positive things into you. Just look at what's actually happening and then come back to the present moment. That's meditation practice. Meditation is called practice because it's practice for life. Hello, Waylon from Amy. No burning questions here at the moment except how can I get a chance to meet you for coffee? Well, I'm a big coffee fan, so that's not too hard. The only challenge is that I'm working all the time. So, thank you for your question. I feel like I should say something else there, but I don't know what to say. Jaren Cianamento Pangea. How do I learn to cope with the inability to deal with this world's inverted values? It causes me tremendous mind pain being an empath. How do I beat the chronic sadness? I do therapy. I'm an artist. Why would you want to beat chronic sadness? It's feel the sadness of the world. There's nothing wrong with that, and that is a gift. And you should congratulate. You should be kind to yourself and say, "I'm actually feeling." So many of us shut off our feelings and are trying to just block the feelings, deaden ourselves so that we don't have to feel sadness. Some of that is okay. We're almost, how the body puts us into shock when we cut our finger. Sometimes it's good to not be overwhelmed by pain, but basically, again, Tonglen. Tonglen is a direct way to work with that sadness and to give away love and happiness and joy. It's not theoretical. It's not hippie. It's just literally working with that emotion directly. So I think honestly you're wanting to get rid of the pain, which is natural, but the way to get rid of the pain is to feel it fully. And then you can relax and feel joy. So there's this beautiful video by Louis C.K. that's on Elephant, Chelsea, if you can put that in the comments. Louis C.K., and he talks about how he was being really speedy. I was looking for my phone, but I'm talking to it. He was on his phone, and he, had to text people. He's just trying to entertain and be speedy so he doesn't feel the pain or the sadness of life. And then he finally let go of entertaining himself, and he just pulled over the side of the road he was driving. And he didn't text or anything. He just let himself feel the sadness and the pain. And he cried. And then after crying, he, again, didn't try to get back into entertainment or speediness. And he felt in that, in the midst of that sadness and that relief and that relaxation, he felt overwhelming joy and gratitude for life. So that's the way to go. It's not to get away from it, but to kind of be open to it. But to be open to it, you also have to be grounded, and that is meditation practice. So beautiful question, Jaron. I'm hacking your name. Doop, 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 doop. Hey, Sophie Miller, one of my favorite humans on earth. Amber, Waylon, I got your book a few days ago, and wow, what a beautiful mind. I truly enjoyed it from cover to cover. Thank you for writing more, please. Amber, thank you so much. It's very sweet. I have had an idea for a second book, and I want to write it, and I'm super excited. And it's going to be a companion volume to things I would like to do with you, but it's totally different as well, which I also like. But if you like things you'll love, in the next book I'm going to call it something like Songs and Stories for My Sons and Daughters, and it will be all my favorite songs. In things, we had the best quotes on love from people far wiser than I, and then it had the chapters and the stories, the sort of poems, and this new book will have just stories, kind of the hard lessons that I learned in my life, so that my future children could learn them in an easier way. Burrito, Teresa, yeah, I'll join you for a burrito. Chipotle. Right, Claudia, how to manage a panic attack when we're... Oh, I already answered that. Terry, bicyclists, cyclists unite. Lisa, how would I like to go on a date with you? We can go on a bike ride. I have a tandem. Thank you so much. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, so probably not accessible, but I'm flattered, and I love being flattered because I'm vain and insecure. Alrighty. But a date on a tandem sounds like a great date idea, or just bicycling anywhere on a date idea. So thank you. Mallory, can you touch on the best way to begin rebuilding spiritually in order to consider future relationships? I found it difficult to let my guard down after my last burn. Mallory, yes. If you've been burned, you got to solve it. SALV. You have to put VE. You have to put healing salve on your burn. So basically, Maitri is that. It's a blog I mention almost every video. Please read it. Maitri, how to get to know yourself and make friends with yourself. Go on some hot dates with yourself. Really get to know yourself. we have a couple good blogs around that. Chelsea, I hope you're holding up. Self-date ideas, dates with yourself ideas, 10 great dates with yourself, but also Maitri on a more spiritual level. Just read that. Pema Chodron has some great stuff in there. Dennis, the Tesla. Are you sure it would not make you happy? It would probably make me pretty happy, yeah. But, I'd probably still be caught up in myself most of the time. But yeah, when I was driving my Tesla or looking at it, I'd be pretty happy. Same with an old turquoise pickup truck. That would also make me happy. Val, I'm isolated, don't know how to start a new life without any friends. That is a beautiful question. So Val, my number one advice, which is super cliche, but also cliche because cliches are often cliches because people say them all the time because they're true. So my number one advice would be, what do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Find some hobby. Like I did a pottery class a couple years ago. Find something that you would enjoy doing, volunteering with children, whatever it is, and then you'll meet people. And even if you don't meet cute boys or girls, you'll meet community, and you'll just connection. Go volunteer at the local farmers market or museum, or when I fly into DIA, Denver International Airport, there's always these elderly folks in cowboy hats who are volunteering to welcome people to Denver. It's so cool. Like, instead of being isolated and hanging out at home, they love Denver, they love Colorado, they lived here forever, so they go to the DIA and they welcome people and they say, hey, how can we help? I think it's so cool. I am so thirsty right now. Kadri. Hey, Waylon from Estonia. Wow, cool. Love Elephant Journal and your talks to pieces. Been enjoying reading a few quotes from your book online, but dream of owning the book too, somehow. Well, you can buy the ebook for only $5, a lot cheaper, and it includes 4 chapters that are not in the book because they're scandalous. Not really. So that's elephantjournal.com/books. Based on my 8-year-old experience, I now don't believe in a solution if I see another partner failing in similar things. I just want to put on my running shoes on all the time and feel like talking about it is no help. That, if it's not there already, can't be made to be there. Hope I make sense. Yeah, you make perfect sense. So basically, like when you're in a tough situation in a relationship, you just want to run instead of trying to work it out and improve it because you feel like it won't improve. Well, sadly, I think you're like half right. I think if you have a basic problem, like that Maya Angelou quote, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Look at that. So yeah, I kind of love that quote, but I also kind of disagree with that quote. Forgiveness is important. Wow, it is so windy. It's crazy. It's like you expect to see the the wicked witch flying by. All right. Yeah, but basically, all relationships are going to be difficult and have difficult times. So I kind of disagree with that quote. Like, get rid of someone when they've been difficult. Basically, you got to be able to just communicate. Communication, just straight up communication is the most powerful thing in relationships. If someone, like last night I was hanging out with a friend and she said something kind of dismissive and rude. And, if we were in a relationship, I would have just said, wow, that seems sort of dismissive and rude. You can just communicate it straightforwardly. And then she could have said, oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I just blah, blah, blah. Because, I could tell she didn't really mean it that way. It just came off that way. So basically just communication, straight up, without strategy, without scheming. Just say, hey, I don't know how to say this, but I feel really weird about blah, 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 blah. You just straight up communication. I don't know if that's helpful. I'm probably getting a little whooped. Lisa Dickerson, have I thought about doing a men's retreat to educate men on being and thriving their best masculine selves? I feel like there's a need for this. Well, there's a friend of mine, Jason Gaddis. Chelsea, can you put a blog by him in the comments? Jason, Jayson Gaddis, Gaddis, on Elephant Journal. He's a columnist on Elephant and a great counselor with men. And yeah, I think there's already some good people doing that. What I, at least, have been thinking about doing is going on a book tour for Things So if any of you want to host me and you actually have a budget, let us know at publisher@elephantjournal.com and we can do a book reading. But it wouldn't just be a book reading. I actually want it to be like mindful relationships, mindful dating. And it could be kind of like this, where I'm not an expert. I think the whole expert thing is a bit bullshitty, frankly. But I'm talking from my experience and from the Buddhist teachings about mindful modern relationships. And I feel like that could be really fun and meaningful and not trippy and just helpful. So I'm kind of inspired about that. Chris, do I believe in ghosts or ghostly type energies? You said ask anything. I don't. I don't. But honestly, belief isn't that important to me. If a ghost shows up in my life tonight, I will be like, okay, I now believe in ghosts. So, just sort of from a scientific point of view, you believe in anything that exists. So if it exists, cool. So if you've had an experience like that and you feel like it's legitimate, I think that's fine. But make sure that you're not Alex Jonesing about it, that it's actually just fact-based and experience-based and legitimate and not some sort of trip. Kaja, I just moved to a new city where I don't know a soul. I'm feeling lonely and I know connection is very... Oh, in Victoria. Who else here is from Victoria? If you know anyone in Victoria, maybe tag Kaja and you all can get together for coffee. I'm feeling lonely and I know connection is very important. I'm having a hard time connecting and meeting people. I work from home. Need some inspiration. So what kind of work do you do at home? Because if you can do it on a laptop, I got a laptop right here, right? Then you can take that laptop out to a cafe. And in a cafe, you'll start. We need connection. We need, even if we're introverts, and especially if we're introverts, sometimes we need to talk with the barista. We need to order. We need to meet, we need, and if you feel insecure about meeting people, then join something. Join a exercise group or some sort of craft or volunteering kind of thing where it's not all about meeting in this awkward way, but it's about doing something together. So Kaja, you can do this. And loneliness is one of the most powerful experiences any of us can go through in life and also get through. And when we get through it, we realize that we're okay and that life is actually pretty sweet. So please, if anyone knows anyone in Victoria, connect them with Kaja and go do, show her something. Go to a park or a museum or a cafe or a farmer's market. Help her connect. Kaja, big love to you. And you got this. I honestly have 100% confidence in you. Because when you're asking that question, then you have that longing to meet, and that longing, other people have that too. Shweta Chaturvedi. All right. Does too much love hurt? Yeah, love can be very vulnerable and painful and intense, and all those songs about love, all those heartbreaking songs on YouTube, those are all about love. Love is incredibly, it's like love at its best is you're feeling everything. You're not blocking anything out, and that's beautiful. So just remember that the hurting of love, Pema Chodron says, the brokenheartedness is the feeling of your bodhicitta, of your Buddha nature beginning to grow. So read, I wrote a blog called The Buddhist Notion of Loneliness is a Good Thing, or I also wrote a blog called The Buddhist Notion of Love, and maybe you could put both of those, Chelsea, in the comments. Okay, I feel like there's a lot of comments here, and I'm way behind. Yes, Taryn, I think it is a little bit bad to shut out the news. You don't need to read partisan news. You don't need to watch partisan news like Fox or MSNBC. Try and find news like BBC or New York Times that is doing good journalism. And the New York Times may be left-leaning according to most conservatives. its op-ed page certainly is, the editorial page, but the journalism is pretty good, and just straightforward, and they'll criticize Obama or Bush or whomever. So find news that is uplifted and journalistic, respectful. Journalism is a beautiful thing when you can find it. And support good journalism. There's not a lot of good journalism that survived because people are reading crappy blogs like, all these like liberal blogs and all these conservative blogs. It's just further isolating and creating further hate in America. So if you want to change America or wherever you live for the better, stop reading blogs that you always agree with and read blogs that have good journalism. Hopefully Elephant has some of that. And when people disagree with us, I think that's a good thing. When we disagree with our readers, I think that's a sign that we're not cloistered in this little yes man club of kind of polarization. So you say, in response to turning away from the bad, I refuse to watch the news because it's sad and mostly negative. I know what I am capable of right now in my life, so if I can't change it, why face it? I think you can change the world, though. I mean, if you share good news stories that are calling out bullshit like sexual assault or calling out bullshit like lack of transparency, I think that can be really good. But you can do it in a peaceful, positive way. Like right now, there's a huge protest on near Native American lands. And that's a good thing to share. And if you go on twitter.com/elephantjournal, I'm on there all the time. And I'm sharing amazing stuff, honestly. 99% of it isn't from Elephant. It's just good, important news worth reading. And some of it's really positive and some of it's really critical. And again, the big no, saying, the so-called negative stuff can be just as positive in that it's calling out kind of what yoga people call the shadow. So I hope that's helpful. Jason, I am with you, and that is probably my favorite comment of the day. Amy, great comment. All right, I'm going to try and skip. Because there's so many comments. Jamie, I'm a single mom of 9-year-old special needs triplets. Any suggestions on getting children this age to seriously meditate 5 minutes a day? Yeah, my main suggestion is to give up. I grew up in the Buddhist community, and meditation is hard for children. It's fine to try and to not give up, but there's a lot of meditation in actions, and so I'm kind of kidding. The way to get them to meditate is to get them to exercise, get them to do healthy things, they can do meditations in action. So any kind of activity that takes focus and monotasking as opposed to multitasking. So when I was a kid, I did Zen archery, which is this whole sort of ritual. There's a bunch of steps, and letting go of the arrow is one of the final steps. Or I did Ikebana, Japanese flower arranging. There's many, many different meditations in action. Sports can be helpful. So that would be my, swimming, that would be my main recommendation, is don't push meditation on them. You can bring them into a community. Like if you're near a Shambhala center, they have wonderful children's. That would be my second recommendation, is connect with the Shambhala community. They have great children's days and children's activities and children's groups. 99% of it's going to be free. They have family camps, which do cost something. And just kind of, you learn to engage in children in a kind of societal way instead of a meditation way. And then when they're older, 8, 9, 10, then they can go to Shambhala Sun Summer Camp at 10. I wrote a blog on that. Shambhala Sun Camp, Chelsea. Whenever I do that, that means there's a blog that I wrote on it. And that can be really helpful. But, when you're a little... Oh, your kids are 9. So yeah, actually at 9, maybe they could start meditating. I'm sorry, I was thinking 3 or something. 9 years old, yeah, they could probably start meditating a little bit. There's things called the Shambhala levels, Shambhala training, that I did when I was starting at 8. I find really fun and helpful. But, it's hard when you're younger because you want to move. You got a lot of energy. Jacob, yeah. Then the best thing to start with is you say all my relationships have been plagued by the feeling I'm not worthy of love. Well, number one, you are worthy of your own love, and but that's a path, and you have to walk that path. And I think it's super cool that you are sharing this confidently. I think that's beautiful and awesome. So you are worthy of your own love, and when you walk that path, which is in that blog called My Tree, that's in the comments, then you will naturally attract someone who sees that you love yourself and they love themselves, and then you're in a mutually like grown up, adult, sane, not crazy relationship. So many comments. I think I'm going to skip to the end. If you had a comment that didn't get answered today, I apologize, but I'll be here again tomorrow and every other day this week. Monday through Friday, I do these videos. Generally, we get between like 10 and 50, 70,000 people tuning in. It's pretty exciting. So, no, I don't do it once a week, Amy. I do it once a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at around 9 a.m. MST. Today was late because I was doing stuff for editors. So thank you so much. Let's do a meditation practice that will be about grounding ourselves in the midst of difficulty. So you can close your eyes in this particular practice. Take a great posture. If you're standing, that's ideal, but sitting is fine. I'm sitting. So root your sit bones. You can kind of move them back and forth until they feel like even and relaxed. Open up your heart and shoulders. Take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. Relax your neck. Tight old neck. Hands can just be flat on your thighs if you're sitting, or by your sides, just hanging naturally if you're standing. Feel the earth, solid yet soft and nurturing beneath you. Feel that earth beneath your feet, beneath your butt. Feel the sky open, extending infinitely above, and breathe into that space above. That's the realm of inspiration, of freedom, of boldness. And then feel the two, earth and sky, connect in your shoulders, in your heart, in your lungs, and breathe. When you feel the two connect in your heart, that's the level of society, of friendly society. We can afford to be friendly with everyone in society, whether we agree with them or not. Take a deep breath in and breathe out, and open your eyes. And just allow your eyes to be unfocused and appreciate whatever's around you. Then you can allow your eyes to be attracted by something that is beautiful or magnetizing, and you can just appreciate that thing. In my case, it's how the light is reflecting. And that's it. That's a wonderful instant practice you can do anytime if you're about to go into a challenging, intense situation. Earth, sky, breathe in. Open eyes, breathe out. Present. All right, folks, I hope that was helpful. If you appreciated this video, please give it a like. Please give it a love. Please give it a funny face. That helps it get through the algorithm and to outside of the choir, to everyone who maybe hasn't seen any of these videos or hasn't connected with Elephant Journal or the Mindful Life or mindfulness as much as you'd like. And these videos are free, so please, this is one of the great ways you can support us. The other, please do this, is elephantjournal.com/best. Get our newsletter, and you will keep Elephant alive. If we can't share our best quality content to our newsletter, then all we have is Facebook, and Facebook doesn't let our best stuff get seen by you. It only lets the viral kind of stuff get through the algorithm. So if you think some of our articles suck and they're kind of viralish and it's kind of stupid, that's just because those are the only kinds that really work on Facebook half the time. If you want to get our best quality stuff, get our newsletter. It's free. Our online magazine, elephantjournal.com/best. And finally, if you practice yoga, please stop practicing on toxic PVC, polyvinyl chloride. It's nasty, nasty stuff, both in creation. It's bad for children. It's bad for the planet. It's bad. Get a rubber mat. I recommend Jade. I just interviewed the founder. That video is in the comments. They are a sponsor, and because of that, you all are getting a video, a mat for only free shipping. So the shipping's free, so that's like $10 off or something. So if you want to get that offer, that's in the comments. Jade Yoga. Chelsea, if you can put that in the comments again. Use the code ELEPHANT and you get free shipping. So that's it. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow around 9 a.m. MST. If our editors are on the case, it'll be 9 a.m. sharp. If they're not, it'll be a little bit after that. Yeah, super windy. It's crazy. All right, have a wonderful day. Thank you all.